Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. It's so good to see you. So happy you're here today. And I think I got about a dozen records today that if you don't know about these records, it's your lucky day. You're going to find out about some really good music today. And let's get on with the show. First up, Muddy Waters. Now, I guess it's been a dozen years or so I found out about this record. It's a blues record. And I'm not the biggest collector of blues stuff. I do like the blues, but I'm just not the biggest collector of it. And then came out, and it was so highly regarded for the sound on the record. So I bought a copy. This is back when Classic Records was still making records, and when Michael Hobson was making these records. Michael Hobson's one of my favorite people in the record business, because he started this label. This is an audiophile label, and he made records the way I love records to be made. It's, pressed on 200 gram, and it's Bernie Grundman remasters from the original tapes, audiophile stuff. It just sounds so fantastic. And so I got the record, and I was so surprised at how great the music is on this record. It is a really good record, and it sounds fantastic. Now, you can still buy these Classic Records issues, but they're very expensive. So Chad Casson over at Acoustic Sounds, he's reissued this. I think MoFi's reissued it. This is a 33 version. I think Chad's put it out at Analog Productions at a 45 RPM. And I think there's a one-step 45 RPM, but Chad's also got a 33 RPM. This is the 33 that I have, and it sounds fantastic. This is the one I would recommend. Unless you know this record, then maybe you want to get the 45. But here's another record. I think everybody knows about this record. It would be funny if you didn't, but I would recommend. This is a really good record. It's one of those records that side A, every song's great. Side B, every song's great. They never get old. They just seem to get better with time. It was played to death on the radio, and I still bought the record, and I still like listening to it. And the records, back in the day, they sounded really good too. You don't have to go out. This is a Japanese first pressing, because it's one of my favorite records. So I would go out and I would find out the best sounding version I could get. So this is really nice to have. What a great record. If you haven't listened to this one, it's one to pick up. Now, here's a band called Savoy Brown. These guys are from the early 70s, and they're a blues type of a band. And they always had some really interesting artwork on their covers. And they usually had gatefold covers. And all of mine I bought them when I lived in Canada. And they're on that Parrot label. They're all the original pressings on the Parrot label. Really, really good. The sound, the thing about these Savoy Brown records that I've got, they don't seem to get on my turntable as much as they should. Now, I've got a lot of these. I did buy a CD. It was a double CD, the best of Savoy Brown, and I recorded. I put that on my list, and I have it in my car. So I do listen to Savoy Brown quite a bit, but these records are so good. Every time I went through, I did a couple big purges, and I never got rid of a Savoy Brown record, because they're always so good. There's a number of them. The early 70s Savoy Brown stuff, highly, highly recommended. If you don't know about Savoy Brown, this is a band that you need to check out. Okay, here's a band everybody should know about. CCR, Credence Clearwater Revival. And they put out quite a few records as well, but in my opinion, they would have one or two really good songs per record, and then not so much the rest of the record. But this one now I bought years back. It's a double LP on a nice gatefold again. But you know, it's got Susie Q, I Put a Spell on You, Bad Moon Rising, Green River, Down on the Corner, Fortunate Son, Traveling Band, Who'll Stop the Rain. I can go on and on and on. All the hits are on here. This is the record that, if you don't have any CCR in your collection, this is the one you need. This is readily available. It's easy to get. It's not expensive. And I would recommend you picking it up because there's so many great songs on this record. Elvis Costello, Get Happy. Another one of those artists that I have a lot of his records. I have probably 15 Elvis Costello records. This is probably my favorite one here because it just has so many songs on it. It's probably got 10 songs per side. It's like those old Beatle records that had 10 songs per side and every song was great. That's what this record is. Now, I want to take a little bit of time. I want to tell you a little story about this because Mobile Fidelity, this is in the later 90s, I think. Maybe the early 2000s. Probably was earlier. Maybe it was '08 or so. Yeah. I went to a record convention. And this is around the time MoFi came out. They came out with this record on a 2LP 45 RPM. And the thing about this record is what they call groove cramming because you've got 10 songs per side. Everything's getting squished together. So now you put it on 2 records at 45 RPM. You spread everything out. You increase the speed. It should be super fidelity, right? This is what we all assume. So right away, I went out and I got the record. I put it on the turntable and I said, wow, yeah, it does sound really good. But hang on a minute. Where's that UK press that I have, that original UK pressing? Where's that at? I put this one on the turntable. And oh my goodness. Oh, that bass. Listen to Elvis's voice. Listen to the cymbals. This is so much better. What's going on at MoFi? This is one of the first records that I started to question what's MoFi doing over there because they're not making their records as good as they should. After Stan Ricker left, they still tried to do that half-speed mastering, and they weren't doing a good job of it. This is why they went to the 45 RPM, but still didn't quite get it. I don't know what happened there, but this record right here, the UK record, the first edition, fantastic sound, great record. And just the inner sleeve, and then of course the record on the inside. Nothing spectacular about it, but really good sounding record. And a really good record. And the reason that's here is because of the music that's on the record. We're talking mostly about the music, but because of some of the commentary that I've had, I'm talking to about the quality of the labels, of the pressings and such. All right, here's another one. Leonard Cohen, 10 New Songs. This is some of the best music on this record, and the sound on some of these songs is so spectacular. And everybody that I played this record for, they go, who is that? I need to buy it. This is how good this stuff is. There was a video I watched. It was the Isle of Wight, I think it was. And they had put up a fence. It's kind of like what happened at Woodstock, where they wouldn't let people in, but at the end of the day, they just took the fence down and let everybody join in. The Isle of Wight, they didn't do it. They kept the fence up, and there was a bunch of people couldn't get in. And when Jimi Hendrix was on the stage, they were all going crazy. They were climbing the fence. They were going to have a riot. Okay. Then the next act came on was Leonard Cohen came on. He sat down, got his acoustic guitar out, started to sing, and a hush fell over the whole crowd. He tamed them all down, and they listened intently to the beautiful music that he was. It was really, really telling. I was just so impressed with that, so shocked at what had happened by a man that was going to start singing the way he did, and everybody reacted in the way that they did. And I did at one point, the first time I bought this record, I bought it on a Canadian first edition. And then I said, well, what is this music on vinyl? I'm having a lot of good luck with their records. I want to listen to this one. And I decided this music on vinyl actually sounded a little bit better than the original Canadian press. But this has got My Secret Life, 1,000 Kisses Deep, That Don't Make It Junk, Here It Is, The River's Dark, Boogie Street. Those are, fantastic, folks. Have a listen to this record. If you don't have it, you're going to be very impressed. Okay, now we're going to get to one of my favorite bands, Depeche Mode. And I probably got 30, 40 of their records. I think I did a video about which band do you have the most records of. And I think this was between this and Jethro Tull, this were the top two, I do believe. And Neil Young, too, has got so many records out. But I picked Violator because I think it's the most accessible of most of the Depeche Mode records. A lot of real popular songs on here. And if you don't have any Depeche Mode, get Violator or Ultra and have a listen. And see if that's not something that you like. Because this is, like I say, one of my favorite bands. I really, really like them. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Yeah, I like the progressive type music. And progressive music is basically music that has a lot less lyrics in it and a lot more instrumentation. Like jazz music. It's a lot more about the musicianship than it is about the lyrics. And that's kind of what I like. I really like great musicianship. And when you've got like three virtuosos that you do with Emerson, Lake and Palmer, this is just, they have their first three records, especially even the 4 or 5 records that they put out, their early ones, they're all spectacular. And if you don't have any Emerson, Lake and Palmer, I'd suggest having a listen to this first and see what you think. Tarkus. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about Fleetwood Mac. Now there's some other Fleetwood Mac records out there everybody wants to point to, but I'm going to say if you don't have Tango in the Night, you might want to give this record a listen, because when this came out, I'm not a big Fleetwood Mac person, but when this came out, it was so beautifully recorded, I couldn't stop listening to it. It was like on the turntable every day, every other day I would be listening to this because it just sounded so good. This is Fleetwood Mac, Tango in the Night. And I do believe now they've got some audiophile pressings too of that record that you can get. Here's another record, Enya. This is called Watermark, and it's got the song Orinoco Flow on it. If you're not familiar with Enya, what she does is she kind of overdubs herself multiple times is where she sings, and she gets to be like a big choir, and it's just her by herself doing the vocals and such. She's a fantastic musician, beautiful singer. It's just some really gorgeous music. If you're not familiar with this record or Enya, something you might want to take a listen to and find out what it's like. Okay, here we go. This is a record some folks might not know about too much. This is a Canadian band. They're called the Tragically Hip, and this is Up to Here. That's the name of this record. And this is one of their earliest records, and it's got some songs on it called Blow at High Dough, New Orleans is Sinking, 38 Years Old, When the Weight Comes Down. I mean, there's some, I had like, say for instance, New Orleans is Sinking. I had that on my phone. I had a bunch of these songs on this record that were on my phone. And if I was playing that song, it didn't matter who came by, they stopped and they wanted to know, who is that? I need to get that in my life. And there's another story I can tell you. When my daughter was in high school, she used to have a lot of friends over to the house on the weekends, and they would be doing their their stuff, and then at some point in the night, they'd all come up to the listening room and they want to listen to some records. And I remember one time, they got up there, and this was the first record I was going to play. And they're all sitting there, they're on their phone, they're looking at stuff, they're all talking. I put New Orleans is Sinking on Drop the Needle, and all the phones went down, and they all sat there, and they were just like, what is this? They're all bopping their heads. This is great. They were not, nobody was on their phone, nobody was talking. They were listening intently to that music. It captures your attention. If you're don't know about the Tragically Hip, there's a good place to start. There's about 5, they're all really good songs, but the ones that I mentioned, they're so much of standout songs. Really good. And then here's another record. This is Golden Earring. This is Radar Love. I don't even know if that's the title. It's just Golden Earring. It's Moontan. Moontan, that's right. This has got the song Radar Love on it. And this is a UK first pressing. And the first press in the UK came on a gatefold. And it's got a textured cover on it. And it's on the Black Tracks label. I think the OG in Canada, the one that I bought originally, was on a Brown Tracks. But in the UK, if you haven't seen it, that's the Black Tracks label. Really nice. Great record. Again, it's one of those records, it doesn't really have a weak track on it. In fact, you buy the record because of Radar Love, but you love the record because of stuff like Candy's Gone Bad. And this is, again, 1973. I don't know if it doesn't have the list of songs on here, but really good record. Truly love it. If you're not familiar with Golden Earring, here's a good place to start. And thanks again for watching. Don't forget to, I want to thank everybody for liking the video and subscribing. I want to thank everybody for leaving comments. Really do appreciate that. And thanks for watching. And bye for now.